Old Davey Doms.
Yeah.
Dave Dombrowski.
Let me say this. As someone who has lived the Dave Dombrowski experience, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are a little too hard on Dave Dombrowski. I feel like a lot of people are saying he's going to come in. I can understand if you're a Detroit Tigers fan. Trust me. Hey,
sure.
Well,
that's what I was going to go with. That's what I was going to go to, is because he's done the work.
Yep.
He's done the work in Boston. He was supposed to get the work done in Detroit. And for all intent and purposes,
he did.
He did.
I mean, those were good fucking teams. Like that
Absolutely.
2013 Tigers team should have won a championship. They just ran into a hell-bent team of destiny in Boston. Like that, that Tigers team, hand up, better than that Red Sox team for sure. You don't have to tell me. I seen it. Go back and look at the numbers in that series. The Red Sox were terrible, and they still fucking won that series.
We've even heard people talk about. We've even heard some just absolutely bananas takes in regards to what's the real goal / end game for a front office, for a GM, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Is it necessarily to win championships?
No, it's to have a good system in place.
It's to have a good system and go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
It's to win the brass ring, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
and that's what Davey Dombrowski has put his teams in place to do, for better or worse. So, unfortunate that the Ilitch family, rest in peace, Mr. Ilitch, was not able to feel that, to be rewarded in that regard. The Red Sox were. There's a lot of talk about what the farm system might end up looking like after Dave Dombrowski leaves town.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a nice piece of metal in the trophy case. So I'm thinking this, Jared.
Not even just a piece of metal. You also have the winningest team in franchise history, a team that's been around for over 100 years. Pretty good.
So if you're the Phillies right now, and you're the one who's signing the check, all right, your desk is the one with the buck stops here sign on it, and you're hearing the Zach Wheeler trade rumors. You're hearing we can't bring Real Muto back, and you're the one that's got control of all that. Is this a case of the message go, look, you know what? Fuck it. I know what Dombrowski will do, and I don't care at this point. At this point, I will go and buy what I think he can bring, which is a World Series, maybe in the next 3 to 5, and I'll spend what I got to. I don't care. Their minor league system, Jared, might not win another baseball game for a decade after Dombrowski leaves, if that's the case. Yeah. But if they've got a ring, I bet that city would be more than happy with it.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Dave Dombrowski. Yes, he spends a lot of money. Yes, he will deplete your farm system, but it's all in the name of winning a championship. He's not here to be the Tasmanian devil and just fuck up your organization and leave. No. He's there to use whatever assets he has to win a championship. And he did that in Boston. Yes. He went out and a lot of the moves that Dave Dombrowski is known for are the, yeah, no shit, I could do that type moves. Like Chris Sale, you trade the number one prospect in baseball is the headliner of the Chris Sale trade, and you have another top 10 prospect in Michael Kopech. And you go out and you get an ace, and then you take off. You give the most money to David Price in December of 2015, when I think the best offer might have been like 175, 180, and then he just dumps 217 to make him the highest paid pitcher in baseball history. Like, a lot of his moves are, yeah, well, no shit, I could have done that. But a lot of the things that Dave Dombrowski never got credit for were things that you would crucify other GMs or directors of baseball operations for fucking up. Dave Dombrowski is excellent at when he does trade your prospects, he is excellent at identifying which prospects you're not going to be like, oh, fuck, we traded that. Like the White Sox, perfect example. James Shields for Fernando Tatis Jr. in a prospect pack. And, White Sox Dave is going to say it until he's blue in the face. Oh, he was a teenager back then, and no one knew who he was going to be. We just knew he had a big league dad, and no one said that he was going to become a superstar. Okay, but you're supposed to have talent evaluators in place who can at least project somewhat that this is not a piece that you want to give up in a package for a James Shields. Dave Dombrowski is a guy that has gone out there and put together go back at a perfect example. Okay. 2015, going into 16. That makes sense. Go back and look at some of the prospects that Dave Dombrowski traded for Craig Kimbrell, who at the time was outpacing Mariano Rivera for the greatest closer of all time. Like, he was outpacing him statistically. Go back and look at some of the prospects that Dave Dombrowski gave up. I mean, I think it was 4 or 5 pieces, and it was like, whoa, shit, he just traded fucking all these guys. And I remember we had some prospect evaluators on Section 10 back then being like, all right, what did the Red Sox just give up? Like, how fucked, like, how lopsided is this deal? And they're like, well, this guy's really good. And they go down the list. Turns out, I mean, Logan Allen with the Cleveland Indians, probably the most notable name, I would say, out of the guys, and Manny Margot, who was not even with, I mean, a lot of those guys aren't even with the Padres anymore. Logan Allen's with the Indians. Manny Margot is,
with the Rays.
Playing in the fucking World Series. So that's where you kind of go back and look at the Steve Pearce deal. It was, he just goes up there after a random game in July. It was 2 weeks before the trade deadline. Yeah, by the way, tonight we traded for Steve Pearce. And everyone was like, huh? Cool, dude. World Series MVP. And just absolutely fucking thumped on the Yankees to a World Series title. So, yeah, I think with Dave Dombrowski, you know what you're going to get. But here's the thing. When he came to the Red Sox, when he came to the Detroit Tigers, he had money to spend. He had prospects to trade. That's not the case in Philly. That's not the case there. I mean, they're crying poor right now. Like, you're bringing in a guy who one of his main superpowers, like, you're bringing in Spider-Man without his ability to fucking sling webs. What the fuck what is Spider-Man without the webs? That's Dave Dombrowski without the money.
Just a guy in a leotard.
Just a guy in a red leotard making out with fucking Kirsten Dunst, which is great, but that's not going to win me a championship, is it, Dallas?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Yes, and if you have a top 10 farm system, great. The Phillies don't. So I'm not saying he's incapable, but those would.
So then is it fair to say that this could be potentially the biggest test of Dombrowski's career? If he doesn't have the money and he doesn't have the resources,
what about winning a World Series with the Marlins? Like,
well, no, I'm not saying where his biggest test would be. I'm saying, is this not his biggest test?
I would say, you go into the Marlins situation, win a World Series there against all odds. Great. You build that team in Detroit that was really fucking good, but the bullpen was the Achilles heel, and it proved to be the reason why they did not win a World Series title in Detroit. They could have, and maybe they should have, but they didn't. You build the winningest team in franchise history in Boston, win a World Series, and everyone's like, oh, I mean, like, that team was a fucking juggernaut, powerhouse, whatever. How much of you can have the debate of, well, a lot of the additions that Dombrowski made were no shit type moves. And you could also go back and say, well, a lot of the key pieces on that team were already in place before he got there. It's the same thing that when you go back to 2004 with Theo Epstein, how many of those pieces of the 2004 team were Dan Duquette pieces? We can have that discussion. So now, if Dave Dombrowski goes to Philly and you have a team that is in a financial ruin, which, by the way, did you see Scott Boras said that no teams lost money in 2020? How the fuck is that possible?
Yeah,
We'll have to call him up. He's my agent. We'll figure it out. We'll have to have him back on again. Because I would like to see him walk me through the financials. Maybe if he had a PowerPoint or some sort of spreadsheet that he can show us.
Yeah.
But the Phillies are telling us, fuck, we don't have the money to go for it. And it's not even that they need to go for it. And to go out and spend the money on Bryce Harper, and this all played out publicly, to say, hey, the way that Bryce Harper's contract is constructed, this is a dude that said, I want to be here. I want to win here. No opt-outs, 13 years. Let's fucking go. Go back and listen to the starting 9 Bryce Harper interview. If you haven't heard it already, you hear it straight from the horse's mouth. This is a guy that came to Philly to win a World Series and was told, because of the way his contract is constructed,
we'll get it.
We'll find the pieces. We will build around you. You are not here to be the guy that's going to pick up the Phillies, put them on his back, and carry them to the World Series. We are going to build around you to build a championship team. And what do? Yeah, we can't really afford JT Real Muto that you're campaigning so hard for. Just to return. This isn't a free agent that it's like we need to add this guy to get over the hump. It's like we need to bring back this guy just to get to the point we were at last year, which still wasn't a playoff team.
But the one thing that you do have to factor in, and I'm not making an excuse, and let's say that Boris is accurate in his assessment that no team lost money. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw a 60-game season coming. We can all understand and appreciate the business implications that go along with that, realizing players took a hit, organizations took a hit, everybody took a hit here. But if I'm Bryce Harper and I gave you everything you needed, meaning the no trade, the backload, I've given you everything I can give you as the player who's going to sign there. I've given you everything you need to build around me being here. So you can't, in year one, almost turn it on me and now make it basically my fault that we can't go and do these things when I've given you everything that I can possibly give you as Bryce Harper. I've told you, I don't need to be traded. I'll be here for life. And you can even pay my great grandkids this contract. I don't care. I just want to win. I want to be able to walk out into that batter's box and out into that outfield with the fanatic on my feet and the fans on theirs, because we're kicking the shit out of people, because we're making moves, but you're not making any moves. You're not doing anything. So if I'm Bryce Harper right now, I'm pissed. I am stewing. And if I'm Dallas Braden, I'm giving all the credit I can to Bryce Harper for not publicly, absolutely shredding anybody and everybody possible in that front office for the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, every one of those people should be walking around with a second asshole and Bryce Harper's name stamped firmly above it.
He's very online. This is a guy that pays attention to, like, he's not a dude that's like, hey, it's the off season, I'm just going to kick my feet up. And, you know, he's got kids now. He's a dad. He's very focused on his off season workouts, and he's gaming and he's streaming. He does all that. But don't think for a single second that he's not following all of this stuff that's going on. He's got to be paying attention. And like you said, he's got to be feeling a certain type of way where he is not happy about, I mean, because like I said, it played out publicly. This is not something that the Phillies told Bryce privately.
No.
And then it's like, no, we said, hey, we're going to build around you, dude. And this is part of the plan. And then within a couple of years to go from that to, we can't bring back JT. We might be trading Zach Wheeler, which was rescinded. I don't know if you saw how it was worded that they wouldn't even trade Babe Ruth. They wouldn't trade Zach Wheeler for Babe Ruth.
Well, yeah, then they even threw Ted Williams. Then they even threw Ted Williams in there too.
Yeah. So, I mean, this feels like a technicality. I mean, of course you wouldn't trade one of your best starting pitchers for two dead guys.
Right. Well, one dead guy and one ice cube.
Correct. One guy could technically be reanimated. It depends. We don't know.
Right. He could be thawed out.
He definitely could be at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that Dave Dombrowski to the Phillies isn't like, I don't necessarily see the fit, but to kind of go back to Dallas's point, is this his biggest challenge? Is this something where it's like, oh, people think I can only build a winner if I have a shit ton of money to work with and a plethora of prospects to flip to other organizations for proven talent? Well, let's try it a different way. Let's see how we can build a team another way. So, I mean, he's very fucking smart. And beyond that, he has personal relationship. Like, he's in some weird way, like, he's a draw almost.
Well, it's because he's got incredible GM hair.
He does.
He's got a great tan for an old guy.
He does, and players appreciate his transparency.
Absolutely, because he can, and I'm not joking when I say this much, he can fit in around the cage.
Yeah, he does.
He can bullshit, and I'm sure you understand this. That is it's something that's almost earned by the players around the cage, meaning outside entities earn that from the players as they're around the cage, because a player will engage you if they understand, or if they know that you understand the vibe and the flow that exists around the shell, meaning around the actual batting cage. Conversations have a certain flow. There's a certain dynamic. There's obviously a time limit to them because guys are in and out of the cage, taking turns and shit. What guys are talking about, the volume at which you're having these conversations, because people are within earshot. There's just a lot that goes into rubbing elbows around the cage. And not everybody is geared up for that. A lot of people keep their distance, but he's somebody at any point in time you can chop it up with, have that conversation with, X's and O's, the game on a broad scale. He's that guy. And he also wears the fuck out of a white scarf. Like, he does it all as far as the GM is concerned. Great GM hair, great GM tan, great GM uni, great GM scarf.
And he's incredibly well spoken.
Yes.
I've interviewed him one time, and he's smart. He's introspective. He's also he's quick-witted. So he can, I mean,
he's got great lips. Do I secretly want to date Dave Dombrowski?
I think you have a crush on Dave Dombrowski.
Oh, fucking Davey Thomas.